Hey, Crystal Maiden here, and welcome to part 6 of Sonic Colors. And now we're going into Aquarium Park, and this is actually a great level, or at least Act 1 is anyways. There's a lot of 3D in this level. This is a minigame section though. Like, all you do is you're skydiving and you collect rings. Like, it does give you a ring bonus, so I guess collecting rings matters, sort of. But yeah, this is pretty fun. They give you lots of boosts. Don't really see what the point of hitting that ramp is. Like, again, hitting ramps in SE2 was satisfying. It was hard to do when you did this cool flip through the air with this close-up camera shot. The problem I have with the theme of this level is that, well, the piano is beautiful, but then you get the synthesizer part that just... It's the part of the soundtrack that always gets stuck in my head, repeating over and over and over again. And it just kind of hurts. Like, this is the most memorable theme in the game for all the wrong reasons. This level would have been much better, music-wise, if they didn't have that synthesizer in it. And it's not even really that suited to a water level anyways. What is the point of that black block? What purpose does it serve? All boosting into those things does is kill enemies right now. I don't know why you can't run on the water normally. In Hydrocity Zone, you could run across the water without boosting. Now all of a sudden Sonic needs the boost to do it? I mean, at least it looks like you can just jump onto the water while boosting and you won't fall in. But yeah, it takes too long to push the blocks, even when you boost into them. Like, it'd be much more satisfying if Sonic didn't stop to push them. Like in Sonic Rush, when he boosted into stuff to push them, he never stopped. He slowed down, but he still kept moving. They reintroduced badniks in this game. Like, there's a couple badniks, like, I think I just saw a crab robot. And there's also motobugs that are usually, that's a cheaply placed enemy. Wow. He just literally fell right on top of me. They shouldn't be able to walk off the platform like that. You can double jump infinitely underwater, which is pretty convenient. The problem though is that most of the water areas in the game have ceilings, so you can't double jump out of them. And it's a really long climb to get out of them from underwater, because the water areas are so deep. Like, it's easy to stay on the surface of them in this level. And I guess this laser wisp is meant to kill all the enemies easy, make it quicker, but it doesn't make... Like this is such a slow, padding level. Like, this part of the level. You can't do anything to make it go by faster. So what's the point of having that laser wisp there? It's not like it'll make it faster. But anyways, they reintroduced some badniks in this game, like the motobugs. Although I had a hard time telling that they were motobugs. You only see that from a certain camera angle. It's hard to tell. And I hate that section, by the way. Something about it makes it really easy to screw up and run into the blue tubes. But anyways, having badniks alone doesn't make a game fantastic. Like, I'm glad that they're back, but for the most part we just see egg pawns, which is boring. Like, it doesn't help that every egg pawn looks the same. Why is there an invisible wall there? Well, apparently it's because there's a goal ring to the left of me. I was worried at this part and I thought I would have to go through an annoying section of the level. But thankfully, it was the goal. So that was a pretty good level. Lots of fast parts. And even the water area isn't really that bad. Unfortunately, most of the zone is pretty annoying. Act 2 is pretty slow. Like, it's an alright level, but it's pretty slow. It's mostly 2D. And you have these platforms back. You stand on them and they move a certain way. There's lots of homie attacking you can do to get through it faster, which is good. I don't see the point of having multiple different enemies next to each other though. Like, that means you can't homing attack to go over large distances, you're just mashing the A button. I mean, I guess it's good for giving you enemy bonus. Does enemy bonus exist in this game? Like, there's a ring bonus, a color bonus. Well, there's a quick step bonus, so I'm sure there's a enemy bonus too. And see, it was kind of overwhelming, that section, because there was so much that I could have done. So I got confused and died. Like, I didn't know whether to homing attack the enemy, or maybe my momentum would carry me into the pit. But yeah, it's short and easy, it's harmless. No one really likes these stupid side missions. Like, even defenders of this game don't really like the fact that there's a huge amount of axe. Unless you're, like, really blind gusher. Like, this is a good game. It's decent. Definitely not in my top 5 or even my top 10, but I don't know. I hate those fans. Like, how is this fun at all? You see what I mean? Like, you have the double jump, you can double jump infinitely, but that's not really gonna help you here. The drowning music isn't even slightly intimidating. The problem is that it's so slow, and it really sounds like the orchestra didn't give a shit. So why should I? I think they did the drowning music a lot better in Sonic Adventure 2, where they had it happen, like, they had the fast-paced violins that really made you scared. I mean, it's good that there is drowning music, but whatever. Those spike balls are pretty annoying, and Sonic decides to lie down and think about what he did after he gets launched into them. Like, they don't have a stun animation for when you boost into something, but when you get hit by an enemy or something, you lie down. Like, Sonic never did that in the classic games. So, of course, like, they're straying from their roots, and it results in annoyance to the gameplay. I mean, I guess you could say, like, boost gameplay is straying from the roots, but it's still based on speed. So, I feel like it's pretty natural. Like, it's not like Sonic and the Black Knight, where the gameplay is very stop and go. Like, there's a reason that they didn't have you have a separate attack button in the classic games. Because that meant you would have been constantly stopping to attack the enemies. Having a game that is constantly forcing you to stop and fight enemies has never been Sonic. But anyways, I really like the Rocket Wisp. I like how you slowly skydive and can just go to the right and skip a whole bunch of stuff after rocketing upwards. Like, they could have easily just had you fall like a rock. The Rocket Wisp can easily be used to get out of the water areas really easily. It's fun to destroy these black blocks with a Frenzy Wisp. I don't really see the point of it though, and it doesn't really look like getting bigger is helping you. He's kind of hard to control, like he just jerkily moves forwards automatically. He's not really that bad in 2D though. In the instruction manual for both versions of the game, Nega Wisp is misspelled as Mega Wisp. Nega Wisp is basically what we just used. But you'll learn more about that later in the plot. Which is weird since he's the Frenzy Wisp, and you'd think that he would only appear in Asteroid Coaster. Although, I went to Asteroid Coaster Act 1 before this level, so I guess that's what unlocked it. Like, it's confusing when you unlock multiple different levels at once, so you don't know which one you should go to next. So I ended up trying out Asteroid Coaster Act 1 and Planet Wisp Act 1 earlier than I should have. And the thing is, I'm playing this level before Planet Wisp because I assumed that Planet Wisp was the final level in the game. Naturally, because Planet Wisp, like, it's supposed to be the planet, the whole planet of the Wisps. So how was I supposed to know that it wasn't the final hardest level in the game that I had to save until the end? That's why I show off Aquarium Park before Planet Wisp, and I show off Asteroid Coaster after this, but before Planet Wisp. This is another... like, there's a lot of 2D here. And again, it's hard for me to get the Laser Wisp to do what I want. I don't know how to get it to fire whenever I want. Like, I'm mashing every single button I can. I'm letting go of the Z button. I'm even pausing the game in desperation. But it just decides to fire when it wants to. And it's not like I'm even adjusting its position. It just decides to fire in the same position that it gave me the trouble in. Here's where it's mandatory. And honestly, pushing a block has never really been Sonic. Like, they did it in Marble Zone, but no one really liked it there either. It's a really good idea to transform into a wisp underwater because it gives you air and prevents you from drowning, which is really good design. The drill wisp is really fun to use underwater, although it's so slippery that you can easily get yourself into a ceiling and then you lose it. And it's such a slow, long climb up to the ceiling again. So I try to get past this part really quickly with the laser wisp. And again, I'm trying to make it fire, but it won't fire. What is it about this wisp? Finally, it fires. Like, I'm not doing anything differently to make it fire, it just randomly decides to do it. This is the most badly designed wisp in the game, it's the first one you get. Ignoring the white wisps, which are just the boost. And you have to do annoying platforming, where, like, that, I'm pretty sure it was in ball form when it hit me there and it still knocked me into the water. It's a good thing that you can stay on the surface of the water and use a laser wisp to skip a whole bunch of stuff. And you're not really doing any platforming underwater because of the double jump. Like, that's actually a con, actually, because... See, I'm actually a defender of Labyrinth Zone because I think it was a good platforming level. Aside from the cheap enemy placement, where the enemies would just pop out of the ground, and the spike balls that would go through walls. Like, other than that, it was good platforming. I liked how the water slowed you down, so it was easier for you to land your platforming. But with an infinite double jump, there's no platforming to be had. But you're still moving slowly. And sometimes you have the boost, but sometimes you don't. Like, if there's going to be water areas in a Sonic game, they're slowing you down, so there's no point in trying to make them fast if you don't have boost. So they should just be focused on the platforming. Because, like, you're going slow anyway, so that'll only help. But if you have an infinite double jump, then you can't really do platforming. And see? Here's where the laser wisp screws up on me. I'm trying to get it to do what I want it to do, but it won't fire. It takes forever, and then eventually, it just fires the wrong way. The ranking system in this game is pretty terrible, as was mentioned before. Like, you gotta waste a whole bunch of time drilling around in circles to get a huge amount of color bonuses just so you can get an S rank. And you've also gotta waste a whole bunch of time with the pink wisp and other stuff. But see? That was a waste of a wisp. It never fires where I want, unless I'm lucky. It is really convenient that you can homing attack the hangers, though. Like, I wish you could do that in SA2. And I like how that water spurts you upwards. But then you have to take longer than you should to push things again. And the annoying thing about this game is that Sonic actually doesn't get an extra life for getting 100 rings. He does in the DS version, but not here. Which is why it took so long for me to grind extra lives. And like, I thought they introduced that in Lost World, but no. This is a really cheap part of the game. Just think of this as revenge for all the bad jokes this plot has. The thing is, it took forever for me to be able to visually tell when he was going to fire his purple laser, because the tiny purple lights that show up to warn you, they're really tiny and hard to notice. So it took a long time for me to be able to figure out that he was about to fire the laser. Simply jumping will dodge that attack. For some reason I didn't get the idea to do that though. It's a good idea to boost ahead of him so that you'll be able to avoid the close-up attack and stuff. But you only have so much boost. So you're gonna run out of boost anyways. It took me over 9 minutes to beat this level because of that robot alone. And I remember being so irritated that I didn't get a checkpoint after the camera changed. Yeah, you can tell I was pretty mad. I love how you can have Sonic stomp around like he's throwing a temper tantrum.